Hi, I'm Empress Rose, and this is the Hermit. Our Hermit is, as the name would suggest, our solo traveler. He's moving slowly, step by step, and his only guide here is his own inner compass, his own inner light, his own inner truth. And he's making careful step-by-step progress. On our Kabbalah Tree of Life, the Hermit is moving from Chesed to Tiferet. There's just this line right here, this hermit line, from mercy to beauty, straight to the heart of the matter, straight to the soul of the matter. And it's going to be easier to go alone. You're going to make the trip a little easier when you do it alone. So this is sort of the seeker energy of taking time, making peace with yourself, understanding your own truth, understanding your own soul, your own desires, and your own unique path in life. And it can also denote making careful steps that are well thought out and very prudent steps as you go forward. This is the Virgo card. I don't usually associate the cards with the different astrological signs, but this one stands out to me as being careful, prudent, and just taking care with your heart and listening as you make those next steps. It's about independent thinking. It's about independence. Your inner compass and your inner truth are the most important things to you right now. So it does come after the Strength card. Strength card, you've proven a lot to yourself. You know that you can be strong, and you know that you can trust yourself once you've been through that space of the Strength card. So now that you are strong, now that you know that you can trust yourself, now that you know that you can stick with your values and with what you want, now it's time to figure out what do you want? Like you've got the strength now, and now it's time for some focused steps. This can also be the fog rolling in. High beams, maps, Google Maps, not going to work here. It doesn't matter. You've got to be looking out for yourself. You've got to be looking out for the next step that you need to take, not necessarily what you're being told to take, the turn you're being told to make, which could just, for all you know, dump you into the river. You're in charge of this. You're in charge of these next steps. And you bear sole responsibility for them. And do not be listening to other people. Do not be trying to copy anybody else. It's the Joseph Campbell quote. I have it written down here. If you can see your path laid out in front of you step by step, you know it's not your path. Your own path you make with every step you take. That's why it's your path. So it's your own path. It's very unique to you. Don't even try to follow some sort of formula or some sort of map here. It's not going to work anyway. So yeah, this also denotes in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck the idea of the mountain sage who has arrived at this place through their own, tapping into their own unique wisdom. And this is also when we choose the path less traveled, right when we hit that fork in the road with the Lovers card. And we had to make a choice and a decision whether we were going to take the highway or we were going to take the back way that we were actually really passionate about and really loved. This would be, having made that decision, having experienced the strength, sort of that trust in yourself that you can make these decisions and you can stick with something. And this is sort of like further down that path. If you're going to be off the beaten path, then you're going to need to be following your own intuition and tapping into your own inner wisdom, because, the Google Maps doesn't have this road, or it's not part of the path they want you to take on. Google Maps is going to be like, and keep telling you to do a U-turn and go back to the freeway, right? But so you're not listening to, the cultural equivalent of Google Maps or the people around you. You have to listen to your own self, especially once you go off the beaten path. Because all the advice can be like, go back to the freeway, turn around. And you're like, no, I know, this is the road I want. But you have to take care and pay attention to your next step and make sure it's the next step that you actually want. So then we have, in the golden deck, we have the Hermit being St. Francis of Assisi, right? And he's got these little critters with him, and he had a very unique path, right? He's a saint. He got sainthood, but he had a very individual and unique way to that. He wasn't able to stay in school or be a good student or do any of the things that we think of as like a good religious saint, as far as attending all the classes and learning all the stuff that they're supposed to learn. His path was very unique and very different. And I like this one too because he's got his lantern here. He's out in the woods, out in the wilderness, away from other people. And I got this card once when I was camping, and it reminded me of leaving the campsite, leaving the fire in the center, the big light, the community light, to go, you know, to the bathroom and take care of the things I need to take care of. And you leave that central light and you have your own little lantern and your own little light. And, you know, you might trip over a few things, you might make a few missteps, but that's what you have your own unique path that you have to do to the bathroom, and you leave the communal light and you have your own little light that guides you. And the reason why it reminded me, I was reminded, does this one have it? There was a bunny. There was a bunny, and I was like, oh man, I'm like St. Francis of Assisi in that Hermit card. And then in the Santa Muerte, we have sort of this time of isolation in a coffin. So more talking about isolation and sort of the rebirth and redirection you get from that isolation. There's also a little centipede here. So to me, that talks about dealing with some inner issues, your inner demons. And here again, we have, the lantern. And this talks more of a longer period of silence and isolation. Being in his own cocoon, right? And undergoing changes in this sort of isolation chamber that is the cocoon, and that is like some of the changes that we can go through. We have to go through them alone. And because we have to be the thing that we are, and it can't be joined in with a bunch of other, you know, parts and other people and other things. It has to be the thing that we are. And then we have from the Muse, I love this Hermit card. It took me a while to wrap my mind around it. She's outside. This is the idea of sort of a vision quest, of going out where you don't have the creature comforts, or she's not in the party. She's out alone here. Learning her self-reliance, learning to trust herself, learning to trust her next steps. This is a meditative space. She's deeply listening. And it always reminds me of Bjork's song when she's, I forget what the song is called, but she's out there in the party, and then she leaves the party and you can hear the party in the background, and she's like whispering, there's got to be more to life than this. And this is the vision quest, someone trying to find their own purpose, right? And it's not that the party is wrong. It's not that all those people are frivolous and stupid. It's that there's a calling to leave that group and to leave that dynamic, to go find what it is that you need, what's important to you, and what calls to you. So again, we have the idea of a solo quest out away from other things, maybe a time of isolation, of intentionally. There's an intentionality to the Hermit where we're deciding to leave something, to leave it all behind and find something that's very unique to us. So, and in the Guardians of the Night here, we have this depicted as a spider making her own home and being home there alone, knowing that opportunities can come to her as she sits in her space, in her, like this denotes less outside your comfort zone, outside your norms. And this denotes isolating within your comfort zone. And I think this one also denotes like sort of an inward focus. This is like outside your comfort zone, going outside the group. Both of these are more about that. And this one's more about like pulling in, and this depicts this more graphically, that inwardness, that home, doing your own thing within your own safe space. And then this one just really surprised me. It's just a closed door, right? But it seems to me that this one from the Good Tarot talks about retreat, closed for the day, closed to obligations, closed to visitors. We can open it. It's just a really good boundary between you and other people. You're just here being you and in your own space. And there's a sense that this is closed. We are closed for business. I'm not taking new clients. I'm not taking, new relationships. There's keys here. Like I could open up if I want to. It's a choice. It's a decision I'm making to close this door. It's not that, if there were an emergency, I can't come out and participate. It's that it's close. And I just found it really interesting because the rest of these are all like about the person, and this is about what people see when they come to the Hermit's home. They see a very closed door. It's heavy, and they're not opening it for just anything. It's openable though. It's openable. So there's a sense of the choice here to shut down, to create a barrier between you and the rest of the world, you and everybody else. And then Apparition, I like this one. It's, you know, it's our abstract deck. And this is talking about the inner light and the time and the strength that comes from, right? This is a very sturdy structure around this inner light that both protects the inner light and also talks about the sturdy progress we can make when we're moving alone. And it's reminding me of the, you know, if you want to go far, go with many. If you want to go fast, go alone. And that's a little bit of also the directness that we get here in this Kabbalah, this direct short trip here from mercy to the heart of the matter, to beauty, is because we're going alone, and it can be a little easier, faster that way. We don't have to, we're not polling everybody. We're not trying to get everybody's opinions about what we're doing here. So this talks about the inner light, time to separate from your environment. Very solid moves that can come from that. This reminds me also about sort of the ideas you get after meditation, right? Some of those ideas, once the mind has had a chance to focus on something and is in a focused mode, some of those ideas, some of these bright ideas that you have after that meditation, they're much more solid ideas. They're something you definitely want to at least be listening to and considering more. It's not, they're clearer, they're more intuitive, and they're not the thoughts that are like all jumbled up with all the other thoughts and half of one thought and half of another thought. It's like they can be much more concrete. So, and the Hermit card really does talk about, and it's hinted at here, this time of meditation, right? Meditation, we can do it as a group, but it's very much a solo activity. It's about our relationship with our own mind, our relationship with our own path and journey in life. It's very unique to us, and it's just a reminder that this is the moment where you need to really be separating yourself from other influences, separating yourself from the group. If you need to go alone for a project, we have other cards where it's like, work in a team, work with a group, work with friends, go with others, you know. This is a time for not doing that. This is a time for separating from others, separating from shoulds and to-dos and other people, and isolating, as the Hermit suggests. So in the reverse, we're going to get meanings about like concealed, disguise, not being genuine, right? Because this is really what's your next step. And this can be like not being genuine. This can be fear of your own true path, not wanting to look at your own true path, knowing that your own true path is going to take you in a more isolated area, in a more isolated way, and not wanting to do that, wanting to stick with the crowd, even though it's not really your thing anymore and it's not really healthy for you. This can be conventional, right? Because our Hermit is very unconventional. He's the rogue because he's not going to like school with the other kids. He's going in a different direction. He's, you know, homeschooling or going in a totally different direction. That conventional way isn't going to work right now. So in the reverse, we can get the sticking with a conventional way, even though it's not working for you. And there can be like a lack of authenticity with that. Like, I'm going to keep doing something even though it doesn't resonate with me. So there can be a lack of authenticity with this, not staying on your true path, being obedient at your own expense or to the expense of your soul, mainstream, conformity, unable to act independently or with confidence independently. It can also be loneliness and too much isolation, having gone on too long. And similar cards would be the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is going to be about letting go of a burden. And that burden I often see as the energetic burdens of previous generations and their expectations. So leaving some sort of expectation behind. And we also have Queen of Wands. She's very intuitive, internal. The queens are internal, and the Queen of Wands is very intuitive. So following your own intuition and listening largely to that and not really being concerned with what's going on around you and how other people are reacting to that. And it can also be the Empress. Our Empress is our successful single solo success, right? So the Hermit hasn't achieved success. But the Hermit is doing it solo for now. So, you know, we could also talk about the Nine of Pentacles too, sort of the Empress in Waiting card. Both of those are very solo, but they've already accomplished something or are doing something. The Hermit is more in seeker mode rather than accomplishment mode, and can go without some resources. The Empress has all the resources, so she's fine going alone. This contrasts with the Hermit, who is fine going without some of those resources for now, if that's what their unique path requires. So, all right, so I hope that that was informative for you about the different ways that we can see the Hermit and interpret the Hermit card and the different interpretations that each deck kind of pulls out. These can also be intuitive interpretations as you move forward of just, you know, is it more about needing to be solo? If you're talking about a relationship reading, it is about a time of singleness. If you're talking about a work reading, it is a time of like going on alone, maybe sole proprietor, or maybe figuring out, you know, what you need to do. Wouldn't be a time to be asking for help, assistance, or mentorship. This would be a time of figuring it out on your own, right? And then different cards are going to come up with different stress, different parts of the overall possible understandings of the Hermit card. All right, thanks for watching.